Hire slow, fire fast. We have heard this advice from all the gurus, but the gurus talk a lot of so what the do I think about this? Let's find out, because today we are talking all about how to hire your first employee, and you need to know if this is good advice or not. This is true. You want to hire slow. Take your time in that process. But as soon as you realize that this person is not the right person for your team, you want to fire fast.
You have to fire the salesman that treated me so terribly.
I'm Amy Walker. I'm a small business strategist, and I have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs and small business owners grow their business to 6 and even 7 figures, and I know that you can do it too. First of all, congratulations on being ready to hire your first employee. That is a big step, and I am super excited for you. And I want to tell you, this advice is 100% true.
It's true.
You want to hire slow, take your time, go through the process, make sure that you're getting a really, really good candidate. And then the minute you realize someone is not working out, you want to fire as fast as possible. So in today's video, here's what we're going to cover. We're going to go through the entire hiring process, from figuring out what tasks you need them to do, all the way through onboarding and training and everything in between, so that you feel confident and you know what that actually means. I heard many times, hire slow, fire fast, but nobody actually took the time to tell me exactly what that means. Like, what do I do when I am hiring slow? So today we're gonna break it down for you and show you all the steps.
There are 10 rules of business that you need to learn.
All right, let's jump in. The first thing that you need to do is figure out what you actually want them to do, like really detailed. And I want you to make a list of all the different things that you want them to do. And then I want you to group them, number 2, group them into specific skill sets. Because you might be trying to hire somebody who can do video editing, plus can do keyword research, plus can do copywriting, plus they can also, you want them to do all of your graphic design. Well, guess what? That's different skill sets. You might be able to find somebody who can do video editing and graphic design, because those are both visual, but copywriting is really different. And so you're going to want to separate those out so that you can actually find somebody who can fulfill those roles well, instead of hiring somebody who you're going to try to get them to do all of them, but they're really only good at half.
Animation? All her, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, just that.
And the animation was cool.
Third thing we're going to look at is, do you need an employee, or can you have an independent contractor? I love hiring independent contractors as much as possible. I love hiring overseas in the Philippines as much as possible. But if there was a situation where someone really needed to be an employee, I would absolutely hire them as an employee. My recommendation is go to the SBA.gov, look at the rules for an employee versus a contractor, and figure out which one works for you. If they're working inside of your space, if you're giving them a process and they have to do it a certain way, there are just certain things that require that they be an employee. So go look at the rules, follow the rules, because if you do this wrong, you will get fined.
Another rule of business is being able to adapt to different situations.
Number 4. This is particularly important with our current hiring crisis. If you live in the US, you know what I'm talking about. If you live outside of the US, I don't know. Maybe it's the same, maybe it's different. We have a hiring shortage right now. Like, there are more jobs than there are people who want those jobs. So the very next thing that I would do is I would look at what can be hired out overseas. First of all, there is not a labor shortage overseas. You can find a lot of applicants for your job still. Secondly, the cost of labor has gone up because people don't want jobs and there are so many jobs available. And so we're having to pay more inside the States. Whereas if you're hiring overseas, I love using onlinejobs.com. They're not sponsoring this video, but they should. I love that process, and it allows me to be able to hire for less there, so that I can afford to pay more for my hires here. So once you've figured out the jobs and the roles, figure out what can be done overseas. Pretty much if it can be done virtually, it can be done overseas. If it needs to be done in person, or you need them to like show up at live events, then it is going to need to be a job that is kept local. Now it's time to write the job post. So here are my rules on writing a job post. First of all, don't let it be boring. Go look on Indeed right now or monster.com and check out your competitors' boring job posts. All you've got to do in order to stand out is not write a boring job post. So make your job actually sound interesting. You need to use copywriting skills and you need to actually sell this job because your first hire is up against big companies that have benefits packages and gyms and, like all these things that you can't provide because you're a small business owner. This is your very first hire. So what you can do to set your job apart is write a really good job post, really sell all the benefits of why they should want to work with you.
What are you doing right?
I want you to focus on what's great about your company, and I want you to understand that your business, the reason why people want to work with you is not for pay and benefits and features, it's for the experience. They might really align with the values. They might really believe in the mission or the cause of what you're doing. They might really love the culture. So as small business owners, those are the things that we get to focus on in our job post to make our job sound like it's the coolest place to work in the whole wide world.
Well, Michael, thank you for welcoming me to your little kingdom.
So now that we have written the job post and we've posted it and we've got applicants, we are going to do a quick once-over from all of the applicants. Your stateside applications are going to come in really slowly. Your overseas applications are going to come in fast and furious. And what you'll want to do is just really get rid of anyone that doesn't impress you and do a quick sweep of the people that you just don't really have interest in. You'll be overwhelmed trying to really read and study every single one. So keep it simple, keep it fast. Then we're going to move on to the interviews. The purpose of the first interview is to figure out, does this person have the skills that you need them to have? And do you like them? And do you feel like they're going to be a culture fit for your business? Because you need both. You need the skills and you need them to be somebody that you really enjoy working with. If any of you have read Delivering Happiness, the book about Zappos, that was one of their key qualifiers when they were first starting the businesses. Is this the kind of person that we would want to go have a beer with after work? Because if not, we don't want them working with us. After the interview, I narrow my pool down. And now I'm down to people that I think they could all do a good job and I like all of them. I think I would enjoy working with all of them. Now it's time for the skills assessment. We're going to actually give them a task that requires them to prove that they know how to do what they say they can do. When I'm hiring a salesperson, that means we're doing role plays. When I'm hiring an admin assistant, that means I'm actually giving them tasks. When I'm hiring a graphic designer or a video editor, it means I'm actually sending them footage and I'm paying for them to do some graphics for me and seeing if I like them. When I'm hiring a business coach, I'm giving them case studies of past clients and what the problems were, what the goals were, what the objectives were, and then I'm having them write out what is the business plan that they would do for that person. This is so telling. I'm telling you, it's very rare that my top candidate after the interviews is the one that I actually hire. Usually it's somebody that was in the middle, that I liked them. I genuinely liked them, but they were a little bit of a dark horse and they came out super impressive in the second round. Whereas a lot of times the person that I liked the best, they're really charismatic and really good in the interview, but their skills aren't quite up to speed where I need them and want them to be. Now, this is a video about how do you hire your first employee. I could stop right here, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna go on just a little bit further because you don't wanna put all that time, all that effort, all that energy into getting the right person and then do a bad job bringing them onto the team. So the next couple of steps are really important as well. There's 3 more things. Next is onboarding. This is how you actually go through the process of bringing them in. This is before training. This is getting their email set up. This is getting them access to all their login credentials that they need. This is getting their agreements to them in a timely fashion. So all of the things that you need when a new person comes on, you don't want that to be chaotic and messy, or their first impression of you is that you're chaotic and messy. Next, we're going to look at training. I recommend that you do not do big, huge, long trainings, but that you do short spurts of training followed by them going and doing that work. And then you do another short training and then they do that work until you've built up all of the skills. I also recommend that you record those trainings and you put those into a document where they can go and look back to see how to do those tasks. It's going to end up saving you a lot of time in the long run, and it gets them performing a lot faster. We just don't remember everything that we learned in a 5-hour training. It's not possible for our brains to retain that much. So let's do what they can retain. And last is the scale up plan. I don't expect my brand new team members to be great on day 1. But you know what? I expect them to be great on day 30. And so each week I have a set of benchmarks for that new team member that they need to hit. So that week 1, they've got to get to here. Week 2, they get to here. Week 3, and by week 4, they really are up to speed with where I want them to be. If they start falling behind, then we can talk about it. After week 1, we can say, hey, you didn't hit some of these benchmarks. We really need to hit these in week 2. If by week 2, they're still not hitting week 1's benchmarks and now they're behind on week 2, this is where we're starting to get that clue that like, hey, this person might not be the right fit. I thought they were, but they're not performing well. That's when we want to go into the hiring process. And oftentimes when you're addressing the underperformance and they know what their benchmarks are and they know that they're missing them, oftentimes you don't even have to fire them because they quit and they say, I really appreciate this. It's a great opportunity. I just don't feel like it's the right job for me. And then they can go and find something that they are good at, and you can find somebody who is good for you. It is a beautiful thing, my friends. So yes, hire slow, fire fast. It is completely the right way to go.
Yeah, that's good.
So there you have it. Now you know, how do I hire my first employee? The next video that I want you to watch is 10 steps to successful goal setting, because once you get that employee, the next thing is to get them setting and hitting goals consistently. It is an important part of every team culture. So go check it out. You know you're about to click on another video anyway. It might as well be one that's going to help you make more money and be a better boss.